Happy Saturday to you, friends. I hope that you are doing really well. The snow is melting here, so kind of excited about that, finally. I have 3 new flow pockets to go in the shop today. These are Storytime flow pockets. I just have really been gravitating to imagery, stories. I don't know what's going on. You know, Flow Pockets just kind of started out as a collection of things to make ATCs, but they have progressed into definitely a story-themed sort of thing. So we'll just get right into it here. The first pocket is called Greatest, and it is a guy in space. To me, this looks like maybe a moon or a planet. The word greatest, I've been very intrigued that Richard Branson, Elon Musk are delving into space tourism. I don't think there's anything I would love to do more than go to space and probably not come back. You know, if I was offered that opportunity to go and, you know, be an explorer on a planet, I would go. Would not care if I made it back or not. That may sound not very nice, but I think it would be a great opportunity. This is Gertrude, and she lives in the northwest of Vermont in a place called the Kingdom. The Kingdom is a retreat for the eccentric. She chops wood to heat her home and cook, and she has familiars that follow her around while she's doing her chores. She has her kitty cat, and she has an old crow. Now, her old crow brings her gifts during the day. I know that you guys have heard the story of the little girl who has made friends with crows, and crows are known to do that. They're known to bring gifts to people that they truly love. My dad professes that he is going to come back as a crow, which I think is really super cool. This is Victor. Now, he moved to the United States from Russia. He is a violinist, but in America, he is not playing much violin except for at night when he comes home from his construction job. This is Nurse Nella. Nurse Nella and Victor live in the same apartment complex. They have discovered a bit of a commonality because Nella went to Russia as a medical team, part of a medical team, and she and Victor have become friends. Now, someone in the building is complaining about Victor's playing. It is not Nella. She loves it. But Victor thinks it's Nella. And he has become very cold and distant to her. And she's super confused and doesn't know why. This is Little Prince Albert and Little Queen Victoria. Typically, little people would be in a circus, but they have styled themselves as a petite version of Victoria and Albert, and they are touring and doing quite well. Just a little reminder that the qualities that make you unique truly have a very special place in the world. The next pocket is Challenged. We can see by the furrowed brow here that that this person is probably not so happy that he is sitting in a classroom with a pencil and a chalkboard behind him. He is of Italian descent, and his mother and his father insist that he go to college, but what he really wants to do is cook, and there's cooking ephemera in this pocket. He wants to open a restaurant. He wants to perpetuate the wonderful cooking of his mother, his grandmother, who he grew up with. So he finds it a big challenge to be in this situation where he has to go to college. This is Professor Edgar, and he went on a dig in Egypt, and he brought back a skull. Yeah, that's just not a good idea at all. He wanted to prove to everybody that he went, that, you know, he's very he's very condescending to everyone, just because he made this trip. Well, the skull has picked up on that condescending attitude and is making Professor Edgar's life a bit of a hell because it talks to him in the middle of the night and demands to be returned to Egypt. This is a pocket called Go Beyond. This lady grew up in a dirt shack. She has a bundle in her hand right here. Her name is Crystal, and she is determined to go beyond the way that she was raised. This is World Tour. We just see a picture of a very happy couple. Probably midlife. They have retired early so they can buy the chateau, and they are going to start a winery. We see them drinking right here. We know Nella's story. This is a pocket called Century. Bella Brown was engaged to be married, but she was left standing at the altar. She was a victim of town gossip. Her fiance started to have doubts about her purity, and he left her at the altar. The ceremony was to conclude at noon when the bells in this clock tower, struck 12. But at noon, Bella was barricading herself into the clock tower, and she would not come out. She was found a century later. People lost complete track of her, and she had built a nest in that bell tower. These are two hardworking doctors. They work on headache cures. They want you to feel better now. This was from a 1964 The Body book. This is Mr. Brittlebones. Mr. Brittlebones works, I'm using air quotations here, at the Bel Air Winery. Now, they're accustomed to bumps in the night, but now they've heard these occasional screams and moans, and they call this creature Mr. Brittlebones. We think that he was maybe entombed in a wine barrel at some point, but we're just not sure. This is a pocket called Storms. In 1939, Mr. Clark lost his position as a clerk in a store. Now, he was offered a position as a shipping clerk on the high seas. His wife insisted that he take this job, which was super perilous. When he boards the ship, he discovers that his little girl has stowed herself away in his big chest that he carried on the ship. Unfortunately, Mr. Clark and his daughter were lost at sea. This is Mr. Clark's wife, Amelia, who is haunted by this happening, and she sketches her little girl daily with a beautiful little apple in her hand. She has kept this button from one of her little girl's dresses. She has other people depending on her, so she cannot fall apart. She has to just hold on. This is a pocket called Be Bold, and it has some art and eye imagery in it. It's really pretty. Paracelsus, we know him maybe as an occult leader, maybe as an astrologer. The cool thing about Paracelsus is he was a doctor and discovered all kinds of cures for all kinds of diseases. He said that man is a microcosm, a little world, because he is an extract from all the stars and planets of the whole firmament, earth elements, and so he is their quintessence. I love that. This is a little pocket about the light coming back. You know, we've got the solstice on the 21st. Yay! So the days actually start to get longer. Another little item from the Kingdom in northern Vermont. This is a little piece called the Museum of Everyday Life, and I've just put a few little knickknacks that might be in that Museum of Everyday Life. And of course, we do have a beautiful bead strand that goes along with each of these pockets, but just to show them to you guys, it's a whole lot easier for me to take them off. Let's find our next pocket. Is called take charge. This is Yuri. Now, we can see Yuri as a child holding a sign that says he is from Croatia. This is Yuri's father. They immigrated at the same time. His father is a slave driver and wants Yuri to be part of the family business. But Yuri wants to be a gypsy, just like his mother. And it is infuriating his father. This is a pocket called Redo. This is Deborah right here. We can see Deborah. Now, Deborah is hanging bloomers out on the line here. This is Deborah in her former life. We can see her smoking a cigar, and she is actually flying an airplane. Deborah unfortunately met David, and her whole life came tumbling down around her. She wants to redo. She wants to be this person, not this person. You know how that goes. This is a pocket called Celebrate. Got a lot of spring items in it. I adore the 1983 imagery that I'm finding in some old magazines. And of course, this is Inspector Clouseau. And this is the Pink Panther. Dun, 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 dun. And we can see, I'm sorry, this is from 1997, a 1997 computer here, and it just says the future. This is Madam C.J. Walker. She was the first person to devise and scale a business model that addressed hair care and beauty for women of color. She is a fascinating character in history. So maybe this will encourage you to delve a little deeper into her history. Living life to the fullest. This is just a pocket about living your dreams. We have Jennifer here. Jennifer works at a restaurant. We can kind of see the fork poking up right here on Times Square, but the whole time she's at work, she wants to be living a different life. She wants to live life to the fullest. She wants the nice purse and the fancy gowns. Who knows? She might meet somebody in that restaurant that she works at who might take her on an adventure. We just don't know. We are on the road and we are journaling about it. In this, we can see a box truck right here. My boyfriend was in a box truck for 4 years traveling with a band. So when I saw the box truck, I was like, oh, yeah. I never went with him. I was staying home kind of holding things together for 4 years while he was gone. But I love the thought of going on the road and journaling about it. Plus, this was a beautiful bedroom, just an opportunity to use these images together. This one is Healing, and it's about just being a woman. There's an image of a bicycle, our ability to not really focus on ourselves for some reason or another. Let's take time to read those books. Let's take time to exercise. Let's take time to rest. So we call that pocket Healing. This pocket is called Awareness, another little ode to spring. Over here we have a pocket called Never Quit. Now this is Lucia. Lucia grew up on a beach, but she had to work. Her father died and she was in charge of the whole family, so she had to work all the time. But one of her most favorite things to do was to walk along the beach and gather sea glass, and we have a little piece of glass right here. Over time, she was able to make her sea glass findings into jewelry, and she has become an entrepreneur. She now can provide for her family and feed her artist instincts at the same time. This is Mr. Emilio. He is a tour guide, and he is like one of those really demanding tour guides. He's not much fun to be around. This is, hold on a second. Hang on. Let me find my story here. This is Ernesto and his fiance. They are on tour with Mr. Emilio, and the only thing that they want to do is to take a gondola ride, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. This pocket is called Luxury. Now, this is Betty, and Betty works really hard so she can buy boots. Basically, Betty loves boots, and that's about all there is to it. She loves luxury boots. She doesn't like the cheap stuff. History. This is our friend and his fiance. I can't remember what I called him a while ago. Let's call him Roman. This is Roman and this is Tristan. They are engaged. Now, what Roman does not know is that his grandfather, who is pictured back here, when his grandfather passed away, he willed his house in Florence to Roman. So Roman is going to get a big surprise when he gets back to the hotel and gets a letter from the United States saying, look, your grandfather passed away and he has left you this house. So they are very anxious to take their gondola rod, ditch Mr. Emilio down here because he's just a pain, and get on with their lives. This says she wants no reminder. These two pockets go together. This is Fred Emery Bean. He is the grand recorder of the Grand Lodge. When someone is behind with their dues, Fred Emery Bean writes them a letter, and we can see the letter is in this pocket. He has become so obsessed with people being late doing things that he now, anytime anybody is late, he sends them a notice. You have been late with, including his wife, who hates to cook, would rather play baseball, and she wants no reminder of his BS and his late notices. This is a pocket called Innovators, and we see a guy on a telephone and an innovative telephone right here because it actually displays numbers. Feel at home. Just let that sink in for a minute. You know, everybody wants to feel at home. Everybody wants to feel important. Everybody wants a place to come home to. There's so much comfort and soothing. You know, even if it's just a room of your own, even if it's just a corner of your own, there is something so wonderful about home. This is a pocket called Moving, just to encourage you to, move your body, move yourself, move your soul, move your brain, move. I think that is the key to staying young and vital, is to just move. This pocket is called Matters of Heart. This is Joffrey, and he worked at the Rochester estate. He was a master gardener. He has unfortunately fallen in love with Lady Rochester, and this is Lord Rochester. Every day he looks for Lady Rochester, and it's kind of starting to be obvious that he cannot control his feelings, and he is caught up with matters of the heart. This is a pocket called Flutter, and it's just a pretty pocket with a butterfly and a little bit of butterfly history here. A poem about farewell and welcome. It's from 1879. The first words are "Go, winter, go." The frozen locks and tresses white, and looks that kindle not delight. What are you going to say goodbye to? Maybe winter is a good time to say goodbye to something. Say goodbye to hardness or frozenness or blank. Just say goodbye. Say goodbye to something this winter. Let December 31st be the last time you think about it. Mark makes these wonderful bags, but he is very, very sad because no one's buying his bags. Have you ever heard of bags by Mark? Yep. He's not a very good marketer, even though his name is Mark. This is a pocket about time. This one says overview, and there's an owl and a bird and several other images of things with wings that get a good overview. I think that's an encouragement to us to kind of look at the big picture sometimes too. This is an image that says horse-drawn sleigh rides every day. This is the guy who runs the sleigh rides. He's not real happy. He's not a happy guy. But we don't know what his story is. Maybe you can fill in the blanks. This is the Lorraine Motel. V for vacation. There are maps and imagery back here. This is facts worth knowing. This is Inspector Harris. Inspector Harris has found a box of bones, and with the box of bones was a bag of you finish the story. This is important rules. This is Esther, and she was adopted into an upper-class family. Now, instead of just being with her sisters and her mom, having a great life, even though she was impoverished and hungry all the time, now she has important rules to follow, like how to sit, how to talk, when to not talk, when to eat. And she would give anything to just go back to her little simple life. This is a pocket that says bring back the friendly. This is Dan and Doris, and they bought the Friendly Hotel in a small town in Georgia. However, they have a certain problem that no exterminator is going to get rid of, which is they have a lot of ghosts and they have a lot of goblins, and the Friendly Hotel is anything but friendly. This is a pocket called Rebel. We see a lady here, and she is dressed all in pearls. We see a red typewriter here. She is drinking, I don't know what. It's a red martini. We'll call it a red martini. And she is our rebel gal. This one says you're inner artist. And this is just encouraging you to think about listening to your inner artist more. Everybody is an artist. Everybody is an artist. You just got to find that road and go down that road and explore it. This is a pocket about our pets, and it's called Wisdom and Humor, because that's exactly what they have. This is a pocket called Luscious, and it is about delicious things to eat. This one is Sister. And these two sisters that you see here, and you can see there's a picture in the back here, run a nature conservancy, and they take care of the butterflies. This one is called A Safe Investment. We can see that it is about reading. There's a wonderful quote back here. This is Editor's Journal. This is the editor of this kitty cat journal, and she has a story of just coming from a very impoverished background. She has actually created her own identity, and she is fearful every day that someone will find out her real truth. But until then, she will just live her little fantasy life and just be happy. So there we go, my friends. 3 story journals. I hope you guys are enjoying these. They're great for art trading cards. They're great to jumpstart your own story writing. They're great to jumpstart a journal page. I am so happy you guys are enjoying these. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day. Talk to you soon.